Once upon a time, in a small village named Umwago, there lived a man named Okeke. Okeke was clever and hardworking, but he had a deep hunger for wealth that would lead him down dark path. Growing up, he watched his father struggle as a poor farmer, and he made a promise to himself: I will never be poor. This determination to escape poverty shaped Okeke's life, but it was also filled with greed. Okeke was willing to do anything to get rich. He would cheat people in the market, charge unfair prices, and take shortcuts in his work. People in Umwagu began to talk about him, saying that Okeke cares only about money. He has no respect for others. Even the elders of the village warned him, but he never listened. One day, Okeke heard of a powerful diviner, a man known for his magical powers and wisdom, who lived in a distant village. They said he could make people rich if they were willing to pay a high price. Without thinking twice, Okeke packed some food, took his walking stick, and set off to find this diviner, believing he would get what he wanted. After a long journey through forests, rivers, and rough paths, Okeke finally arrived at the diviner's hut. The old man had deep wrinkles on his face and piercing eyes that seemed to see through Okeke's soul. The diviner looked at him and said, You have a restless heart. Young man, wealth can be a blessing or a curse, depending on how you use it. Okeke didn't want to hear this. He wanted to be rich and he was impatient. So he demanded, Just tell me how to get rich. The diviner sighed, took out a small black pouch filled with herbs, and handed it to Okeke. Take this pouch and bury it under an iroko tree at the edge of your village, he said. As long as the pouch remains undisturbed, you will have more wealth than you can imagine. But remember, if the pouch is ever removed, disaster will follow. Okeke thanked the diviner, not paying much attention to the warning. He rushed back to Umuago, found the oldest iroko tree near his farm, and buried the pouch beneath it. Soon after his crop grew stronger and faster. His animal multiplied, and he was able to sell more at the market than ever before. In no time, he became the richest man in the village, building the largest house and buying the finest clothes. But
highlifeng.com.
with his newfound wealth, Okeke grew more arrogant. When people come to him for help, he would turn them away, saying, I worked hard for my wealth. Why should I share it with lazy people? He became known as Okeke the Greedy, and many people in the village began to avoid him. Then a terrible drought struck Umuagu. For months, no rain fell, and the stream dried up. The crops withered, and animals began to die from thirst. People had little food and water, and soon many villagers grew desperate. They went to Okeke hoping he would share some of his wealth with them, but he refused. He told them each man must fend for himself, go and find your own riches. One night, Okeke had a strange dream. In his dream, he was back in the diviner's hut, and the old man was looking at him with disappointment. Your wealth was given to you, not for yourself, but to help others. The diviner said in a soft, sorrowful voice, If you do not change, everything you have will be lost. When Okeke woke up, he was frightened, but he quickly brushed off the dream. He thought it was just a trick of his mind and ignored the warning. But the next day, strange things began happening. His barn were filled with insects that devoured his stored grain. His animals fell sick, and the crops he had left in his field began to die. It was as if everything he touched was turning to dust. Worried, Okeke decided to return to the diviner's village to seek help. But when he arrived, he found that the old man had passed away, and only his son was there to greet him. The diviner's son looked at Okeke and with a sad eye and said, My father warned you. Wealth that is kept selfishly brings only misery. You were given riches to share, not to hoard. Okeke was ashamed. He returned to Umuagu, but this time he was determined to change. He gathered what little food and water he had left and began sharing it with the villagers. He went from home to home, giving what he could and apologizing to them and apologizing to those who had turned away in the past. The villagers were surprised to see this new side of Okeke, but slowly they began to accept his help and forgive him. Over time, Okeke became a new man. He started working alongside others in the village, planting crops and raising animals, not just for himself, but for
highlifeng.com.
everyone. And as he gave more, he found that his heart grew lighter and his farm flourished again. His wealth returned not through magic but through the kindness he shared with others. People no longer called him Okeke the Greedy. Instead, he became known as Okeke the Generous. His story was passed down from generation as a lesson in Umuagu. True wealth is found not in what you keep but in what you give. This brings us to the end of our story. Please stay tuned for more amazing and interesting story and kindly subscribe, like and share this video.